All that which builds and strengthens is correct, right? And all that which destroys is wrong. So how about all that which sympathizes with that which destroys? Sort of a grey area, but ultimately it's wrong. As for the people who are committing evil in the world, somebody had to nurture them. Somebody had to build and strengthen them. How about a challenge to all Christians? Well, we could do it with any religion, but or spiritual practice, or whatever you want to call it. But I got up pretty early today, a little bit later, about 1 hour later than usual, because I felt I needed a little more rest to build energy. It would not have been congruent with this principle if I had have gotten up too early. All that which builds and strengthens is correct. People need to be built up and strengthened and nurtured somehow in order to eventually commit evil and to go and destroy. Christianity taught me something, and there's something to learn in a lot of there's something to learn from Christianity. There's something to learn from Buddhism. There's something to learn from the Tao. Each one is trying to tell you something, or there's a way to grow within each of these traditions, actually. Christianity, it's enabled me to actually relax my brainwaves, to fully synchronize my brainwaves, actually, because I'm able to, this role that Jesus Christ played, when you look into this and understand it. So we need to get to the core of what's important, what's effective, what's important. All of that which corresponds to building, strengthening, nurturing. Of course, just by saying words, it evokes semantics. And of course, some of the things that I may have said, for some people, semantically, they may correspond it with all sorts of random things. But the practice here, it needs some tangible markers of progress. I can hook up a device to my, externally to measure my brainwaves. I can see that I am able to synchronize my brainwaves. I can feel that I'm able to sync my breathing. So we just have to do a bit of weeding and weed out, okay, like where are we here? What can we do? So there's just a certain effect that can happen through prayer and in church, and sometimes reading the Bible. There's a certain effect that can happen, and some priest can, or some person who has that connection can put their hand on us and can say some prayers, and we can feel a lot of energy, the Holy Spirit flowing through. And then we may have an emotional release. And also, this is well documented, or it's even better than that. There's so many videos nowadays of, for example, killers that have been in prison for, killing people, torturing people, mass genocide, and then they, of course, their minds just totally fucked up after that. And then through Christianity, through let's say surrendering to Jesus Christ, and begging for them doing honest prayer, and having this Christian experience, they are able to finally relax their mind again. And a lot of the time people talk about they feel this energy starts down in their belly, and it's really strong, and then it comes up, and then they have this emotional release. And sometimes even people may start speaking in tongues, with a lot of energy coming up the spine, coming up through here, and stimulating some speech center of the brain, and people start and of course some may say that some may explain it as this is a angelic language, or it's just the result of you're having a emotional, energetic release of this past trauma, this guilt and everything that's built up in the body. And I experience this too, to some degree, and this is something that actually I would say is also corresponds with the development, the opening of a kind of mind power, because you are submitting, you are becoming congruent with the higher power through this prayer. And I feel like a different person after this. So this will be part of my. This will be my warrior's journey, to be a divine warrior, to be a servant of God, and to seek out the churches and the priests and the ministers and the people who have an even stronger connection than I have, who have who are at a more formidable, more gracious, more merciful, more divine, and then so that I can learn from them, so that I can figure out, okay, where else do I need to, how can I pray more honestly, and how can I be more congruent with God? How can I be filled by the Holy Spirit even stronger, and how can I allow this to have an even better effect on those around me? How can I be a better person in society? Like this. And so, although there's been a lot of killing and torturing and things, even in the name of Christianity, basically, and it's happened a lot because because people get corrupted by power to some degree. Like, for example, although this happens, it's not to say that there is a true process within Christianity that gives a person a connection with God, allows the Holy Spirit to flow through the body, and can connect with God through Jesus. Yes, but the thing is, like, for example, when the conquistadors, the Spanish they were also Christian or Catholic or what it is, and they some of them would have been also having this emotional release and speaking in tongues and this and that, but obviously the ministers of the church, or the churches, were connected with the state, and the state of Spain was quite what's the word, conquering a lot of other countries, and doing really heinous stuff, like when they went to the Americas, I've heard this said a lot, so it's probably true. They would torture people in very terrible ways, and they still have these torture instruments in some museums in Spain. Some say that the Spanish they're still proud of this. But I don't know. I'd have to dig more into this, but I don't know. What's the point even? But it's just important to acknowledge that that even though within Christianity that there is this way to connect with God, and this, even then when you extrapolate out and you get to the more complex level of countries and societies, things get complicated, and then so all that which builds and strengthens is correct. That which destroys, it's wrong. So things are going to get built and strengthened up, but then through the virtues of Christ and everyone having this and speaking in tongues, but then some point sometimes there ends up being a corrupt abuse of this power, because of course you connect with the divine power. The power of God is a very strong power, and but it seems like there's like some sort of monopoly on this within churches and things. Like obviously that was the case with that, and I think it's still happening today, and that's pretty sad that people can't acknowledge that. So the question is, like, what is actually the real significance of this mind power that is achieved and built up and strengthened the body, and align everything with and connect with God through Jesus, and this, like, how can we really truly use this to really be congruent with God? So that which builds and strengthens, that which builds up the life force energy, that which nurtures the life force, is correct. That which destroys the life force, that's wrong. So we need to start somewhere here, and just need to, like, weed things out. And I think some people that say, well, there will be people who disagree with this, and because they'll say, it's too complicated. I'll just go to church and I'm just gonna pray, and but I at least I feel a little bit of this Holy Spirit and things, and that's fine. I'm not going to think about like where my salary is connected to, and I'm sure that probably it's connected to some nefarious things and the politics in my country and this and that. It's too complicated. I'm just going to go to church and I'm just going to pray. And I don't know, it seems, I mean, we can do better than that, right? And like today we have the infrastructure, all this great advanced infrastructure, and like all these things that just make it really unnecessary to there's just so many like pointless jobs that are just unnecessary, and like because we have the infrastructure now to actually just sit here, relax, have some peace of mind. Okay, now we can step back and now we can have a look. Okay, where is my salary coming from? And am I having to okay, everything which builds and strengthens is correct, that which destroys is wrong. Obviously, some part of my salary and my sustenance is connected to some nefarious things, right? But I need to sympathize with my boss, with my employer, with my colleagues. Geez, I better sort of mates rates. I better sort of be in cahoots to be able to continue having my salary. Even if you're running your own business, people will just say, oh, it's too complicated. I'm just going to go to church and I'm just going to pray and I can't really think about all this. So yeah, we'll run this through ChatGPT and then we'll get we'll see how it, So it's interesting because human beings, we have a higher mind function when we listen to this, to what I'm saying, and we can use our pattern recognition, even though what I've said, the way I'm speaking, it's because when I was born, when I was in the womb, certain cognitive functions, they got knocked out. So now I have to rely on more higher mind kind of pattern recognition, but even higher functions that's not just linear, thinking that most people would sympathize with. The way I'm speaking, okay, it's not polished and like professional, this, that, but I'm aiming to, I'm praying now to be in congruence with the divine, with the Creator, through the virtues of Jesus Christ. Please, Lord, please let me be filled with the Holy Spirit. Show me the virtues that I need to align with every moment of my life, every action. Please, Lord, I pray that ChatGPT will at least be able to analyze this and put it together in the way that I need it to be put together in. Even though it